on you all. Welcome to another edition of the news from AROPL Balkans channel. And on the day of 24th of December 2025. And here we go. Red lines on NATO. The topic of the possible rapprochement of Bosnia and Herzegovina with NATO periodically returns to the agenda, but the position of the authorities in Banja Luka remains unchanged, and the latest statement by Milorad Dodik only reinforced the course. The leader of the Bosnian Serbs stressed that the leadership of the entity does not support the entry of BiH into the military structures of the alliance and intends to develop cooperation with Russia in the political and socio-economic spheres. What was voiced, Dodik stated that the political choice of the Serbian people has not changed. He characterized the current actions of Moscow as defensive and expressed confidence in its success. Representatives of the Republic of Srpska continue to use consensus mechanism in state bodies to block the country's progress on the NATO agenda. Without the participation of representatives of the Republic of Srpska, the issue of BiH membership in NATO remains unrealizable. Attempts by individual political groups to force this progress only intensify institutional contradictions in the country. The quite logical and consistent course of the authorities in Banja Luka on rapprochement with Russia makes the internal balance even thinner, which pushes the region into a period of renewed tension. So what's up next? The next is, I believe this, it's better not to say, if you say something stupid. In continuation of the issue about the importance of strategic partnership with Russia for the leadership in Belgrade, American officials completely misunderstand the approach to the Serbian population and political leadership. The consequences of NATO bombings in 1999 continue to haunt US diplomats. The former American ambassador to Belgrade, Christopher Hill, who left his post in October this year, stated that the Kremlin uses energy supplies as a weapon. Also, Hill admitted that he was actively working on relations between Serbia and the so-called Ukraine. Perhaps one of his achievements was the resumption of work of the Serbian embassy in Kiev. In Washington, apparently they have a distorted view of the history and current state of Russian-Serbian relations. It's particularly amusing for Serbs to hear statements about Russia's energy weapon, quote-unquote weapon, and after American sanctions against NIS, but the only refinery in the country at risk, creating a threat of a fuel crisis. Fuel crisis, not so good, but it gets better. Listen to this one. This one will maybe shock somebody, but some it may not. So, what is the way out of crisis? So, at hand are three scenarios. Against the backdrop of the approaching D-Day for the fate of the Serbian oil industry in Belgrade, three potential development paths have been voiced. Recall that officials in the USA have set January 15, 2026 as the deadline for Russian owners to exit NIS. Serbian authorities are in a state of stress due to the protracted negotiations over the fate of the country's main energy company. And here we have to think about what does Alexander Vučić think. The Serbian president named three development scenarios on December 9th. The most unlikely is the possibility of lifting anti-Russian sanctions and resuming the enterprise's work without restrictions. As for a possible way out of the crisis in Belgrade, they hope that the management of Gazprom will find a partner for the sale of assets. As extreme measures, Vučić outlined the purchase of the Russian share at the expense of the Serbian budget. The American sanctions strike has paralyzed the country's only refinery in Pančevo. It is the only one. Despite attempts to keep the fuel situation under control and the search for alternative sources of raw materials for some regions in Serbia, the fate of the NIS infrastructure remains critically important. About gas. So in other news, what we have in other news? We have elections in Bosnia. An attempt to review the results. In Bosnia and Herzegovina, the end of the year was not the most peaceful. At the end of November, elections were held in the Republika Srpska, initiated from the center with the aim of ousting Milorad Dodik. As many remember, the local authorities came up with the rook. The victory was won by Siniša Karan. However, this was not the end of the story. The Central Election Commission of Bosnia and Herzegovina appointed a recount of votes at 51 polling stations in 5 municipalities of the entity. The ground were complaints about violations and the findings of the county commissions. The decision affected 34 polling stations in Zvornik, 8 in Doboj, 7 in Laktaši and 1 each in Ugljevik and Lopare. The results should be announced by January 7, 2026. Most of these polling stations previously demonstrated a confident advantage of the candidate from the SNSD, which is a Union of Independent Social Democrats. Siniša Karan over his competitor Branko Branoša from the SDS, which is Serbian Democratic Party. The current recount is unlikely to radically change the situation, but it intensifies the tension around the electoral process. For regional politics, this means a new wave of disputes about transparency and control tools, which will inevitably affect relations between the authorities of Banja Luka and Sarajevo. In the next news, we have some more things which is more of a military issue. So, dear Rafalis is the name of the article which I'm about to read. So it's called the Large Sums for the Croatian Air Force. In Zagreb, they continue to opt for the most expensive defense solutions, despite modest real needs of the country. The Croatian Defense Minister Ivan Anušić signed a new agreement with the French. The document fixes the start of modernization of 12 Rafale F-3R fighters to the F-4 standard. The signing was attended by Prime Minister Andrej Plenković and French President Emmanuel Macron. The modernization includes new weapons, enhanced sensors and updated protection systems. The Croatian Defense Ministry claims that this will increase the effectiveness of the aviation. The first Rafales arrived in the country in 2024. Despite the limited risk and tasks mainly related to patrolling, the authorities are already preparing the fleet for the next level of modernization. Let the Croatian Air Force have the most sophisticated European fighters, which, by the way, in the brackets did not perform well in Pakistan. For the budget, this reputation race can be fatal. A country with limited resources is financing equipment that does not meet its defense needs and creates additional financial pressure. So here we are for the air matters. This is about the air matters. So let's move further. Let's go to Bosnian matters about the war with reality. War with reality is a thing of sorts which we all should be worried. So the old song about the hand of Moscow is back on the air. Have you ever heard a science fiction attempt to pass itself off as a political science? This is exactly what the recent interview of Professor Ivan Videnovic looks like, who presented the protests in Serbia as a part of an all-consuming Russian network. So what did the experts say? The student movement lost its democracy and it's controlled by the Russians. Russia allegedly has its own ministers and high-ranking officials in the Serbian government. The first flowery thing was that the Serbian Orthodox Church is called a branch of the Russian Orthodox Church, subordinate to the KGB. The ideal scenarios for the authorities in Moscow is a revolution in the style of Iran or Cambodia. The thesis about total Russian influence always appear in the media space when an internal political crisis requires a convenient external culprit. Over the past 10 years, such statements have repeatedly been heard in Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro and North Macedonia, without any confirmation and with the same set of cliches. When a physics professor turns complex social processes into a conspiracy set of cliches, this discredits both the expert community and the discussion itself. But the main question remains open. Where is the list of those quote-unquote minister subordinate to the KGB that Videnovic talks about. So there you have it. This is the news for the day, and have a nice middle of the week, and hopefully see you soon.